When I look at this lake, my heart swells and I just feel so happy to be here. I feel so lucky.
Flathead Lake is one of the most priceless lakes in the world because of the landscape that contributes water to it. That landscape is so pristine that the water that comes into Flathead Lake has almost nothing in it that's harmful to anything.
If you love Flathead Lake, you love Glacier National Park because they are connected. The waters that feed into the lake are coming from the park and they're coming from the National Forest land. So they're coming from these protected areas.
Glacier National Park is one of the most iconic units in the National Park Service. It is truly the crown of the continent.
Mother Nature's created some fantastic artwork, and unfortunately she only made it once. It's not going to come around a second time.
June 3rd of this year, a 96-car unit train of Bakken crude coming from North Dakota derailed in the city limits of Mosier on its way to Tacoma, Washington. 16 cars derailed and 4 caught fire.
Looked to my right and I saw the burning train. Looked to my left and I saw the cars still coupled going all the way through town. As I realized that I was right on top of basically a bomb.
When I came here, the sound of the trains was nostalgic. It was a positive feeling. Now it just kind of gives me a gut-wrenching feeling.
Montana's the last of the best, and the Flathead's in the heart of it. If there was an oil spill on the Middle Fork of the Flathead, there would be irreversible consequences for the ecological and socioeconomic integrity of the entire system, from the Middle Fork all the way down to Flathead Lake. Those impacts would essentially be realized for thousands of years.
If we had an entire 80-car train go into the Middle Fork Canyon, it would be a disaster beyond belief because the result would go clear beyond Flathead Lake and on downstream. It would be that big of a deal. It would be extremely toxic to the organisms in the vicinity of the spill if they don't get burned up in the process or just coated over and suffocate.
If an oil spill occurred anywhere in the Flathead watershed, that oil would travel down through the river system, could be entrained into the groundwater system where people get their water, would end up in Flathead Lake, where a lot of it would settle down into the sediments at the base of the lake.
The clarity of the lake is a #1 reason we draw customers to the valley, period.
Our creation stories involve this water, our livelihoods involve water, both ecologically and economically.
Clean water is not just important to my business, but because we are here just outside Glacier National Park, it's about the clean water. I mean, it's the thing. It's running right through the heart of our business. We're taking people on the river, not just because of the fish, but because of the clarity of the water and the beauty that surrounds it.
There are many things that can be done by both the railroad and by people living in the vicinity to educate themselves and understand what the nature of the threat is, and also to prevent the types of accidents that occur that cause the derailments.
You know, from a prevention perspective, I think it's, what does it take to not have an accident? And what feeds into that is thinking about speeds, track condition, external threats like avalanches.
This is a steep, mountainous canyon, and you've got mudslides and landslides coming through in the other seasons. And not only are there rocks that are coming down onto the railway sometimes, but you've got animals crossing, and it's windy.
How the track is constructed and how it's used is fundamental. It's got to be a state-of-the-art track with snow sheds to prevent avalanches from knocking trains in the river. It's got to be rail that's constantly checked to make sure it's not broken so that we don't have an accident that could have been prevented.
I think once it gets out of the cars, there's going to be a lot of damage done. So containment in the river is not the solution. Containment in the cars, and it doesn't escape those cars, is the solution. And that's where we need to be spending our time and money.
I think it's incredibly urgent. I drop my kids off for elementary school right next to the oil tracks up in West Glacier Elementary School. And so every time I see an oil train go up or down this watershed and in this beautiful place, it gives me a bad feeling and I worry.
Montana business owners, sportsmen, and conservationists are working together to help Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad protect the crown of the continent. Your voice counts. Please visit www.flatheadlakers.org and add your name to the list of friends and neighbors of the Flathead Lake watershed. Together, we will make a difference.